History rarely warns before it strikes, but that morning even the wind knew blood was coming. The cavalry rode out laughing, unaware that death had mounted up beside them in silence. The sky was clean and wide, the kind of blue that fools men into believing they are safe. The Sioux had been watching for days, their patience sharper than any soldier's blade. From the ridge, smoke rose in spirals, not from fire, but from signals older than fear itself. Captain Wilkes squinted at the horizon, mistaking ritual for retreat. He told his men they would make quick work of the savages and return before sundown. The horses snorted, uneasy, as if they could smell arrogance stronger than gunpowder. A young trooper dropped his canteen and swore. The sound echoed too long in the stillness. The Sioux moved unseen through the grass, the earth itself folding around their steps. From the west, a lone hawk circled, silent witness, prophet without words. The bugle sounded, slicing the air with a note so sharp it might have cut the future in two. Then came the reply, a single war cry, high and unbroken, spilling across the valley like thunder. Horses reared, rifles lifted, and every heart suddenly understood the cost of command. Arrows hissed through the air, glowing against the morning light like streaks of judgment. The first soldier fell before his name could leave the lips of the man behind him. Gunfire erupted, smoke blossoming like flowers that only bloom in hell. The Sioux charged from every side, the earth trembling under the weight of justice and fury. The sound was a storm, hoofbeats, screams, steel, and somewhere beneath it all, drums. Captain Wilkes shouted orders that no one could hear over the breaking of the world. His horse bucked wildly, eyes white with terror. Animals understand endings better than men. A trooper dropped to his knees, firing blind into the wind, praying to both God and dirt. The Sioux rode hard, hair streaming behind them like banners made of night itself. Their faces were painted for death, not celebration, not hate, but duty. One soldier tried to surrender, waving a handkerchief. The arrow found him anyway. The cavalry line broke apart, a river of panic flowing through a field that refused to forgive. Gunpowder choked the air, heavy as guilt, thick as the breath of dying horses. The Sioux shouted to the spirits. The soldiers shouted to nobody who would listen. A bugler raised his instrument, but no note came, only the whistle of an arrow through brass. A cannon fired once, too close, and sent 3 men flying backward into the memory of home. The captain tried to rally them, but courage is fragile when surrounded by consequence. A young private fell face first into the mud, still clutching the photograph of a woman. The Sioux closed in tighter, each rider part of the same heartbeat, the same vengeance. Horses screamed as bullets tore through them, their blood turning the grass to rust. Smoke covered the valley like a curtain, hiding what men should never have to see. Through it all the drums continued, slow, steady, older than the word battle. The captain fired his revolver until it clicked empty, then stared at it like a broken prayer. Beside him, his lieutenant whispered the Lord's Prayer and got no answer. Arrows found them both. Mercy came slower than gravity. A Sioux warrior rode past, blood on his cheek, eyes reflecting both rage and sorrow. The cavalry flag fell, trampled by hooves that carried no nation but survival. A sergeant crawled toward a wounded friend, dragging his fear behind him like a tail. The friend was already gone, his mouth open as if still trying to taste forgiveness. The grass caught fire from a stray spark, smoke rising as a second sky. The Sioux pulled back briefly, watching the fort burn from within its own arrogance. The soldiers inside coughed, blind and desperate, shooting shadows and ghosts. A young Sioux boy, barely 14, rode past them, his face painted with his father's ashes. He saw a soldier hiding beneath a wagon and let him live. Even vengeance has limits. The river below ran black with ash and gun oil, carrying no reflection worth seeing. The battlefield fell silent, but for the sound of horses dying slowly in the grass. A wounded soldier looked to the sky and whispered, "We were never the heroes, were we?" The sky said nothing. It had learned to stay quiet around men who lie to themselves. A Sioux woman walked among the fallen, singing a song that made even death pause. Her voice wove through smoke and sorrow, stitching dignity where none remained. The surviving warriors dismounted and gathered the wounded, theirs first, then others. They buried their dead facing east, so the sun could remember their names. The soldiers' bodies were left where they fell, a lesson for anyone who dared not listen. Crows arrived by noon, black punctuation marks on a page written in red. The wind carried the smell of gunpowder and pride, both rotting in the same sun. The river swelled, swollen with rain and regret, washing the field clean of excuses. That night, the Sioux lit fires along the ridge, not in triumph, but in mourning. They spoke softly to the flames, asking the spirits to forgive them for surviving. The wind carried their words to the stars, which blinked as if too tired to judge. A wounded horse limped away from the camp, disappearing into the dark like a secret. Captain Wilkes's body was found face down, his hand still gripping the earth he'd tried to own. His journal, soaked with rain, contained only one legible line: "We thought they would run." The Sioux burned the flag they found, not out of hate, but to let the dead rest without sides. By morning the battlefield looked quiet, but silence never truly leaves such places. The sun rose pale, ashamed, its light bending away from what it saw. The grass stood straight again, pretending it had never drunk the blood beneath it. Far away, the government called it an ambush and medals were given to the dead. But the wind that crossed those plains told a different version, older, truer, harder to forget. It spoke of arrogance, of warnings ignored, of balance restored in crimson and dust. Years later, travelers found bullets half buried, still warm with the memory of consequence. They said you could hear hoofbeats at dusk, echoes of men who never stopped running. A settler's child once claimed to see riders made of light crossing the ridge at night. His mother said it was just wind. The wind said nothing, but the grass bowed anyway. The bones of the fallen sank deeper each year, roots learning the names of strangers. The Sioux moved on, leaving only cairns of stone and stories heavy with silence. Old men would sit by firelight, telling the tale without pride, without joy, as just truth. "We did not kill them," one said. "We ended what they began." The young listened, eyes wide, understanding that victory and grief often wear the same face. In time, the fort was rebuilt, but the walls would whisper when the wind blew right. Soldiers stationed there later complained of voices echoing through the night. The river never cleared. Its surface shimmered with memories that refused to drown. The plains grew green again, but the roots ran deep with the taste of iron. Historians wrote reports, poets wrote nothing, because some truths don't rhyme. The wind still passes through that valley, cold as a confession. Each gust carries the echo of drums and the faint neigh of a horse that never stopped running. Travelers pause there and say the air feels heavier, as if the land itself still grieves. At sunset, shadows stretch long across the ridge, reaching for the ghosts that never left. And when the stars appear, they shimmer like tears that refuse to fall that day.